Pastures, the plane path will take us over once more. From Georgopol down to Sosnovka military base. It's match 2. It's time to get stuck in.
Super Western plane path, actually. This is a difficult one to play off the back of this, but teams have started to already gather some of those points on board already, and Falcons are doing well. To start things off as well for Falcons Strong is a big deal for that team. That team runs off the back of momentum. If you get a lot of points day 1, it just makes your life so much easier going into day 2 and day 3. Getting a buffer already sorted out for yourself, especially in a tournament like this, it is so beneficial because you're looking for that first place. You're not looking for second and third anymore to get that direct invite. You're already here.
You've already made it all the way. You're on the doorstep. It's just a question of turning the key. And could we see a back-to-back Mongolian world champion here at the PMGC? We're denied that back-to-back performance from IHC. They didn't quite make it, unfortunately, but we do still have 2 representatives from the region to try and duke it out with the rest of them, 4MV and, of course, the Falcons, who we've been talking about for the last little while. We'll see if they're able to put up the numbers when it matters. The Western Plain Path proving to be troublesome here, maybe on the military island. Taking a look down on the south side, Blank, you've got Thunder Talk, you've got 4MV, you've got Na'Vi as well, all the way on that.
A few moments later.
Do move over towards the eastern side of Everest, getting 2 players up top. They might recall the rest of the squad, but it is Thunder Talks moving through, and it's actually a good thing they still have 2 players out on that eastern side. They're able to listen out for the vehicles and get some info over towards that area of the map.
And be that double threat. From the top of Everest, it's always difficult to get those spray downs as well, so having those low ground angles to assist, to make sure that the cover is never secure for Thunder Talks moving around them, good stuff. But D plus Kia looking now to regroup. Thunder Talks actually pushing Nolbu off of that low ground, so they need to be careful. Was that another player from 4MV getting caught? I think it was, unfortunately. So now it's just Doc and Reefus for 4MV to play on the southeast side. From their compound, they're right towards the edge. It's going to be really difficult to extract value out of this match to try and keep up the pace with the top of the tables.
At the moment, 4MV cosplaying as fish because they are getting caught left, right and center at the moment. It's a bit unfortunate for this team, but we saw it in the group stages. This is nothing new for us here. And 4MV going down to 2 players nice and early in the game, it's bad news for them. And I mean, for 4MV, the stocks weren't too high coming into PMGC anyway, but there is still 2 more days and the 4-1 matches to play after this one to kind of get some more points on the board and redeem themselves after these first couple of games. I mean, that first one on Sandhawk, not too bad, but it didn't feel massively explosive from that squad. It was more of a survival tactic from them. Here's the Vicious, though. They're currently over towards the northeast side of the map, making their way through from Box Compound. Now, every single team has made that crossing from the northern side and is roughly in the circle, albeit you still got Team Spirit as well as Incilio with a couple of players on the outside, but I think both of those teams will be making their way in shortly. If Kitsune can hold down this central location inside the field, it will be fantastic for the squad, but it's not a super secure position. You really do have to be on the ball over towards that area of the map.
Very difficult to play in with numbers reduced for Team Spirit, playing as 3, all the harder. Vicious now pushing up towards the top of Everest and open up towards Nolbu. It's good for the first. Vicious moving on in. They haven't taken a knock yet either. But there is that trade finally found, but it's 1 for 1 again on that engagement. And with the earlier flush they found, it's not looking too good for D plus Kia, but they are still struggling through. Fabian and Osal on the top of the high ground here. A nade over from Diminor to get them low, but there's that spray down. 2 players left for D plus Kia, but they're still giving it a good go.
It was equalized pretty quickly, and for D+, it was a real big struggle. Great nade comes from down the hill, and that will be D+ Kia going out on the top of Everest, taking a big old tumble down towards the bottom, and it certainly was a vicious play, but here's someone else who's got some talking to do. It is the Thunder Talking to do. It is the Thunder Talks looking to shout some nades down towards the Vicious. That looks to be pretty much on target.
Oh, gets one. That re-knock immediate. Diminor not taken down by it, but there's plenty more where that came from. Left in the back pocket. Thunder Talk. Look for the spray downs, but Diminor has the answer. High, we're now with the nade cooking, looks to put the pressure on, continue that one going through, the flash is there, but Diminor once again fades the full knock. Unfortunately, the second time around, not so lucky. Circle shifts away, and Thunder Talk make their way in. TJB, however, now in their way.
Nice old-fashioned M4 spray down coming through from the Thunder Talks. Good initial play as well, assuming where they'd be rezzing off the backside of the cliff. Fantastic stuff from Thunder Talks, but again, now you have to fend off versus Tongji Bao, who have moved in on towards that northeast side. For Thunder Talks, it gets a little bit difficult. So it's our two PEL teams going head-to-head here.
From this northeast side, it's still all to play for access to this next circle. The shift goes down to the fields, by the way, Blank. On that southwest side, where Kitsune had the middle, now has neighbors in RCB. Team Spirit on a wide spread on that southwest edge. Na'Vi, Alpha 7, both potentially looking to push in there. So Team Spirit need to be careful, need to have their wits about them. Thunder Talk in this fight, still trying to move around the edges of Everest here. Seemingly looking to try and slip around the side of TJB, not take this fight head on.
I mean, stage 4, it hurts, and I don't really think you can be taking a fight with Tongji Bao at the top of Everest. You have to move around, but I think even Thunder Talks know that where they're going in the circle is somewhat no man's land. Let's see if they can push through and get the battering ram going versus 4MV on Doc and Reefers, as well as Rage. Couple of roll downs, though, over towards RCB and Alpha 7 start things off strong.
Hopefully he's on the wet weather tires because he has got a blood trail line behind them. One flush goes through over towards Alpha 7. Well, that is going to leave them with a second going down. RCB, sure, they're swept aside, but Alpha 7 now under pressure from those off angles. Na'Vi are behind them. Team Spirit are ahead of them, or at least Kitsune is, rather, in this central field position. The smokes are starting to bloom. With McGrellan down, keeping 3 players up, rather, is the priority for Alpha 7.
Team Spirit find those shots. I mean, Na'Vi also has eyes over towards this. This is not an ideal spot for Alpha 7. They can make it work, certainly. Insilio, though, still sending those shots ringing out over towards the eastern side. And they have had a lot of impact on this game, despite having a very late start into this one, John. Thunder Talks sat down in the grass. Themselves alive as long as possible. 4MV over towards their north side, but equally not in a great spot. With Influence Rage looking to move off the crest of Everest. Likely life's going to get a lot harder. Guild will try to hold out versus Tongji Bao. Good shots from 4MV, but it's sent back and traded.
TJB looking to try and fend off as Guild move on in towards the foothills of Everest. Spray downs looking good for the first, but not quite fully connecting. Finally, there's a knock found as Tongji Bao actually have nades sent back towards them as well. Gilda giving the fight a good go. Effect trying to hold off against Na'Vi, almost solo, but in comes the backup. Nomi is here just in time to light up from the sidelines. One more to go. Can he keep Puncher at bay? 6 is too far away to go for this fight immediately. So if Nomi can get the res, if he can get the heal, it's big news for Team Spirit. The push comes out, the pump action, ready for it. 6 now looking to put the nade over towards him, but the fade back from Nomi down the channel stays alive. Effect maybe not so lucky, but Team Spirit still have that outpost.
Incredible stuff from Nomi. Actually runs back with the nade ticking. Won't go far enough, and it will be 6 to understand exactly what's happening here. Really, really well played from Na'Vi. Kitsune went down off in the distance as well, and that will be Team Spirit out early once again. Only one elimination found from that one, sitting Team Spirit down towards 13th place. All the while, Alpha 7 finds themselves some more points, but it is Falcons, in fact, over towards this northwest side, taking a knock and a flush versus Voin Donkey.
Voin Donkey ID doing well on this northwest side. Alpha 7 do have sightlines over towards it. Zeta with the roll down. The nades over towards Guild, still giving TJB a little bit of pause, but 2 players alive for Guild, only the 1 for TJB. That will get finally shut down on the northwest side as we're hopping over with Voin Donkey. That was Falcons getting taken down. That was, I think, 0 points on the match there. So 21 total on the first 2 games. Still good, but maybe not what they were looking for, given that they earned all of those in the first match.
Yeah, it could have been a good starting point for them over on the northwest side, but they didn't cut in between Voin Donkey as well as DRX, who did get that final blow over towards the Falcons. It's a rough spot to be in. It really was. Guild, though, now moving out into the fielded area. And again, I haven't really talked about it too much, but this is an absolute desperate circle for a lot of teams. The fielded area contains so much of it. Na'Vi's going to have a field day here, down towards that southwest side. The fact that they have so many sightlines looking over towards the northeast edge, they can cause a lot of problems for a lot of these teams and poke a huge amount of holes in the squads.
And with that low ground ridge they've got to play on the south side of the road could be huge for them. Alpha 7 as well in the middle. They've got those defilés that Kitsune was holding down earlier, but you spoke about how difficult that is to navigate, and especially as 3, Alpha 7 losing one of their players on the roll-up. They get success positionally, but will they be able to keep that under the belt?
It's a position that gains value over time, realistically, because early on in the game, you have a lot of these third parties coming through, and defending on a 360 angle from this position is hard. But if Alpha 7 can isolate a fight over towards the west versus Voindonkey, there is much better prospects for them in the future. Though, Voindonkey, not a team to be messed around with here. DRX still on that north side. In the meantime, what we're watching at the moment is Influence Rage versus Incilio, who have held out for the longest time down towards the south side.
Making some cheeky rotations so far this match. The Milter flex out, giving a lot of teams something to think about during this match and maybe causing a little bit of chaos, but now into the late game, that effect is going to start to reduce. It's all back to Incilio and what can they do in these late game situations. They can't really fall back on the surprise factor anymore. Teams are going to know that they're here. How do they play these open fields? Because it is really, really tricky stuff right now. You can see open ground ahead of them for as far as the eye can see.
Teams are relying on luck and blessing.
Ooh.
Circle moves over towards that northeast side. Nigma Galaxy immediately reacts. Snowyx sends out to scout versus DRX, but he's in a dangerous spot right now. In the midst of this team, somehow not down just yet, but Ralph will find one onto Hyunbin immediately. Snowyx does get taken down, but in comes the rest of Nigma Galaxy to provide backup.
Only one player now remaining to stand for DRX, but he's already getting lit up from the sidelines on the swivel, but can't find anything. He's blinded by the smoke. There's a third-party push coming through from Voindonkey ID into this area as well, as Redox runs them through. But there's an off-angle knock coming on in, and it's just back and forth between these two teams with that third party, Vexy on the Mini 14. What can you do under this amount of pressure?
In comes Narvalo, drops the smokes, drops the stuns, tries to create a portion of the circle they can continue to play in. In comes more nades, but a player on 1 HP trying to keep the dreams of DRX still alive. 2 players get knocked, but Ralph can move in. Great play from him to back it all the way off, just in case a nade came through, trusting in his teammates to finish the job. But Alpha 7 taking shots over towards Voindonkey. Like I said, if they can isolate an angle, they might have a better time of it.
Incilio looking to push through the open fields as well towards Influence Rage. You can see they got protection from Alpha 7's position. They're preoccupied. And Incilio used that opportunity to move up across the open ground. The damage done to Influence Rage, but there is a nade sent back towards Redlick. Lorazin on the off angle, finds the flush as well. Westron looking to find the final players of Influence Rage, but not quite connecting there. And not able to finish that roll-up successfully and cleanly. Incilio still with 3, and they've still got the hovercraft roll down, and it's a specialty of Incilio. Out and towards the off angles, Lorazin gets clipped, and that's Westron to find it. Draws the attention, draws the eye with a hovercraft, but it's the M4 to put him down in the end.
And yeah, the great distractor apparently here in the hovercraft. Dude's just needing to send bullets into it, but you can't really with the fact that Westron's on the back lines with a nades in hand. Still, it's only 2 players knocked. This is very recoverable here for Influence Rage. Not with that kind of nade, though, that comes over the top side. Westron peeks ever closer over towards them. A getaway in full pursuit, but Westron is not having any of it.
And with the team on the north, Nigma Galaxy re-establishing themselves with all 4 players on the north side. Influence Rage have nowhere to go. And they will get eliminated. 6th place, 3 elims. Top 5 teams now remain. We've got Na'Vi, we've got Incilio. Alpha 7, they have been taken down in the process of this match. Na'Vi moving across that road have been able to successfully take control.
Not quite yet, still have Revo up. So Alpha 7 is alive and they can push further into this game. Revo's going to likely just keep himself and his nose clean for a little bit longer. We know this guy does very well in endgames. He was there right to the end there on Sandhawk as well. So I wouldn't count him out just yet, but with Voindonkey still having to move in, it all depends whether an RV is going to hold them out or not. Incilio, though, with some of the most ridiculous plays in the hovercraft there, which I genuinely think Influence Rage was so confused by and bamboozled that they couldn't do anything about it. But Incilio, they will find themselves a strong position down towards the south, but here's the time for Nigma Galaxy to shine.
Moving in, stretching their supply line from the north side. Circle goes to the southwest side, and Narvalo is already in it. But Incilio on the southeast side, Na'Vi on the west, these are the two teams that need to hold their ground now. And Voindonkey ID lose 1 to Na'Vi's position. That west side, really difficult, but they've got a lot of eliminations so far, Blank, from that northwest side. Their fight with Falcons, Team Spirit as well, over on that northwest side, has gone well. Voindonkey ID have got value from this match already. They're into the top 4. Can they move through Na'Vi?
This is a team with 3 rookies on side, is Voindonkey. They are extremely good coming into this PMGC. No one really expected it, no one saw it coming, but over the progress of survival stage, the last chance, it felt like they were just absorbing more and more experience as they went on. And they're coming into this one as a fearsome beast. They've leveled up, absolutely. Now Na'Vi feels the brunt of the pain coming through from Voindonkey as they start to hoof them out the side of the circle.
2 knocks sent their way, and RV down to 1. Lemon run for the hills, looking to get squeezed out here by Voindonkey ID. The nades continue to pour on in. Those flushes are all but in the pocket for them. And 8 elims, 9 elims. They are racking them up left and right. Only 1 player from Na'Vi remains, and Voindonkey ID have a really good opportunity to take a massive result for themselves here.
Voindonkey ID, they control a lot of space, and that little trench that sits through on that western side is so beneficial. Potato, though, down towards the south, is a very critical member of the squad right now. Cannot allow Na'Vi to get a little bit too close to them. Has to also provide that information back to where Nigma Galaxy are trying to push through from. They picked up a loot crate in the process, so they're nice and looted. Nigma Galaxy is ready for another fight here.
Incilio find a player, though, over towards Voindonkey ID from that east side. A little bit too bold. Potato could potentially get that res. Nigma Galaxy now with the impact frags. Westron goes down, and that is the high ground angle spotted, taken out. But the hovercraft is still on side Blank. We know that there's plenty of mischief still to be had, but Nigma Galaxy, they're going to try and put a stop to it. They've isolated it. Do they see there's a player inside? I think they've spotted it. Force him out. And now around the edge of it, has to try and find a cheeky little frag. Gets Narvalo. Now a second chance, but SnowX does take him down. 2 players have fallen for Nigma Galaxy, and this is an opportunity for Voindonkey ID to move in with their 3 players from the west side.
3TN actually priming a nade for himself. It goes long, though. We'll get the damage numbers on it, and we'll probably send another through. Depends if they can get this res off or not. It goes long again. So for 3TN, unfortunate, they're not able to pick that one up. Narvalo looks for the heal. In comes a little bit of a smoke, a stun. In the process, Molotov's going down, and Nigma Galaxy scrabbling to get out of the way.
Trying to move away from the Autorius out of these 2 squads. With the number advantage for Nigma Galaxy, though, they would be going into it ahead.
The radio tower in the middle, and all the squads will be radioing in their strategy going forward. Out comes the first phase from Potato, and he is boiled by 3TN. Luckily, Razor's there to assist. Nigma Galaxy might try to move off the back of that, though, as they circle round. Still being alive here is a massive boon to the squad. Getting scouting off the back of this is huge. Ralph's got to be careful, though, but any information he can provide is going to be so important for the team to send nades over the top.
Discipline on the peak there from Voindonkey ID, not over-committing to it. You know you can be sprayed down, pinged out through that smoke. And Voindonkey ID with the challenge. Redox cooking one of first of, I'm assuming, is going to be about 6 or 7 nades that's going to fly in just a moment, but into the gunfight we go. Down into the dip, Razor not going to be able to take that shot. Instead, lines up between them, dips back in, gets that reload, moves forwards, gives them the slip. The runaround is there. Narvalo on the back line, will find it, but there's trade-offs coming through. 2 players down, Vexy on the low ground is low, but holds his nerve. 2 versus 1, it's up to Vexy now. As Nigma Galaxy are able to keep it under control, finally able to shut it down from the east side. They roll up to the top of the hill and find the chicken dinner.
Potato lost in the sauce in the